What is up, hackers? Welcome back to another episode of Hack Crypto, where we talk everything Web3 and our metaverse education. If you guys are brand new here, slap a like on this video, be subscribed if you like everything that is about personal finance and Web3. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be going over Pulsechain. Now, I met Richard Hart back in 2019. I think it was November. We did a live stream together. He's a really smart guy, and I enjoyed talking to him back then. I'll link to the interview that we did together below, so you guys can check that out. But ultimately, me and Richard, we disagreed on certain things, but we also agreed on certain aspects of economics. And there was a lot of fun conversation that we had around marginal contribution and what people contribute to different types of networks. Fast forward from 2019 to today, where we are in May 2023, Richard and his team have launched something called Pulsechain. It is an Ethereum fork that is dramatically less expensive in terms of gas fees, and it has been blowing up. I joined the community before it went live, probably mid last year, just to see what was going on. And of course, I wanted to follow it because he was very successful in his company Hex. That was a token that was meant to be kind of like a CD, or certificate of deposit. So being a fork of Ethereum, the concept was that there was a snapshot taken and it was a direct copy of Ethereum's bags. So if you have half an Ethereum, you immediately get half of a PLS, or Pulsechain. And I thought this was a really brilliant idea to port over everybody that was used to Ethereum. First couple of days of Pulsechain, there was 50,000 plus people all on Telegram just going nuts. And I had a lot of fun watching it, and I got involved as well. So as a disclaimer, I do hold some Pulsechain and PulseX. That is the sort of Uniswap of Pulsechain's blockchain. And it is a really cool thing to watch. If you join their Telegram, I'll leave the link below, but if you join the Telegram, you can see just the vibrance of the community and the people that are eager to get in early on an L1 or layer 1 protocol. So what Pulsechain did was it created a bridge from Ethereum. Everybody that had Ethereum in their wallets that wanted to bridge over to the new blockchain had that amount of PLS in their wallet. Now, what happened was the bridge got bogged down completely to the point where it took me 2.5 days to bridge just from Ethereum to wrapped Ethereum on the Pulsechain blockchain. That is just a crazy amount of backlog. And just seeing now that there's, I think, 300 million on PulseX just on there that people are transacting on. There's hundreds of millions of dollars in liquidity. It is an incredible feat to do that. You create a new blockchain and basically build your own bridge, and it gets so overwhelmed and people eventually make it through, and you still have hundreds of millions of dollars on there. It's incredible. And anybody in the space that throws shade on Richard or calls him a scammer or whatever, it is, regardless of your opinion, that is one of the most incredible things I've seen to date, where you're actually bridging value from one of the most popular, if not the most popular utility blockchains over to a new one. Solana didn't do that. None of these have ever done that before. So I went on to the bridge, deposited, I believe I started with about half ETH, deposited that to wrap on the Pulsechain blockchain. That got wrapped after 2.5 days of waiting. I was sitting there just refreshing, seeing what was going on. And on plsburn.com, you could see how much was being caught up on the bridge. And eventually it got to like 92% or so, and it went through. So once it was wrapped on the new blockchain, what you do is you have to convert that to PLS. But in order to do that, you need gas. And at the time, it was about 500 PLS to do a transaction. So literally on the Telegram, there was hundreds, if not thousands of people saying, please, can somebody send me some PLS? I'll send you back some. And one of the coolest things happened. This was probably around 11 o'clock at night. This guy reaches out to me, and there was probably a dozen DMs from people from that community. Some of them were like scammers. Some of them were just really sketchy people. But this guy reaches out to me and he says, hey, I'm a small investor. This is me. He gave me a link and he said, I will give you however much PLS you need to do your first transaction if you just give me back twice what I send you. And PLS is just extremely cheap. There's like 100 trillion. So this guy messages me and I say, you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and do it. you send me 20,000 of these PLS, which at the time was, a couple dollars basically. And he sends them to me. And I was like, wow, okay. And I sent him back twice. After I did my transaction, I sent him back 40,000. And he was just like, okay, great. Thanks for trusting me. And this community is built on trust. And it was an incredible experience that I wanted to share because nobody really does that because there wasn't any gas. I had half a PLS when it was 100 times that in gas. So I would have needed 500 Ethereum if I started to just do one transaction because it was a one-to-one snapshot. And this guy just totally helped me out. And, I doubled his PLS, which was only a couple dollars, but it got me in. And I was able to do a transaction, acquire some PLS and send him some. And it was just such a great experience that I've never really experienced that in the crypto space, where somebody's out there just trying to help people get in because their bags appreciate as well if they get more people in. And it was a really cool experience. So anyways, I get the PLS. I then decide, all right, this thing is on fire. Like, people are really desperately trying to get in, and the bridge is down, and people are really trying to get across and wrap their ETH or wrap whatever they need on the Pulsechain blockchain and acquire Pulsex, which is the Uniswap kind of decentralized exchange. And that was when I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get PLSX and PLS. And it was a really cool experience going through that. It is definitely technical. So a lot of people that are watching this probably are going to struggle with it. But ultimately, once the bridge is completed and it shows on there that it has been claimed on the new blockchain, you've added the PLS blockchain to your MetaMask, it is a pretty straightforward process, just like in Ethereum, but it's much cheaper. And it is cool to see all these people launching tokens. Many of them are like scam tokens because everybody's just trying to ride the hype. But it is a whole new network that has been launched successfully, and it's grassroots. There's hundreds of people on Twitter that talk about it every day. There's news sites that talk about it exclusively. And anybody that's discounting this level of grassroots approach, where probably 100,000 people at this point are all trying to work together to get adoption for this thing, it's a beautiful example of how a community is what matters in this space. So down to the marginal contribution part. One of the coolest parts about this and why I wanted to get involved was the validators. And the time I got in, there's about 12,000 validators, which is proof of stake. It means people are helping validate the network. And this is energy effective. It's green. It's not, proof of work where you have miners. And I love the model of proof of work. But this validator model is a beautiful thing. And I really like that approach. I like that individuals can make this contribution on their own and they can get rewarded for supporting the network. Now, on top of the marginal contribution of that, with game theory, which is what I majored in college, I studied it a lot. I studied a lot of Nash equilibrium things and all these different things in college. But the coolest thing about this is the burning. Now, the burning of PLS and all of it, like PLSX, is a mechanism that the team put into this where effectively 25% per block is burned. And what that does is that is reducing your supply quite dramatically and quickly. So as people are transacting, especially on something like PulseX, the decentralized exchange, and it's burning, you have this incredible amount of reduction in supply that's happening organically because it's programmed in. On a speed scale, Pulsechain is 17% faster than Ethereum, and it does 10-second blocks instead of 12-second blocks. So really optimizing for the level of speed here. So to become a validator on Pulsechain, you need 32 million Pulse. And this is such a cool concept that I'm definitely going to be researching more on, and there's a lot of documentation around how to get it started. But that is a way to help secure the network, earn passive income, and basically you're just getting rewards. At the time of recording this, there's 16,000 validators, which means 16,000 individual people or entities have 32 million Pulsechain, which is quite a mind-boggling amount of decentralization if you think about it. So the cool thing here is that when you're burning as you're transacting on PulseX, or just, as you're watching the blocks go by, you can see that tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of these things are being burned every few seconds. 1.5 billion have been burned on the PLS side, and then it looks like 62 billion have been burned on PLSX or PulseX. So a really cool concept was around the ink incentive token, and that is what's provided when you are helping support the network. And that is, at the time of recording this, there's 1 million supply, and that's like $40. So really cool concept and really great incentives to get people going. A lot of game theory was used to create this, and I really enjoy reading into this. Now, if you're always going to have to do your own research, not financial advice, but this is a really fun project to follow. Props to Richard and the team, the whole Pulsechain community. Shout out to you guys. I'll do more videos in the future about this, but I wanted to just bring everybody's attention to this platform, because with, I believe on Pulse Burn, 166,000 users online, or over 2,000 at the time of reading this, and then views are at 1.5 million, which is remarkable by any measurement in the Web3 space. And anybody that's throwing shade on this just doesn't know how this space works, and it's all driven by community, and it's really cool to see this play out. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys like it. Definitely check it out with the links in the description below. Really cool to see a new L1 come out with this functionality and this level of game theory involved in it. And I will see you guys here on the next episode of Hack Crypto.